Hi, I'm Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video. I've been asked lots of times to give a tour of my desk and creative space, and I've finally got around to doing it today. I work predominantly from home, and even more so this year, so this is where I do all of my HR work from, but also all of my creative projects too. And this unit that I'm going to show you, I actually saw at a craft show, and I saw it years ago now and just kept looking at it every year, and finally saved up enough money to be able to buy it. And I've had it for about 5 or 6 years now, and I have to say I haven't regretted it for a minute. I've got lots of craft and journaling supplies, a lot of which has been sent to me by other businesses to work with and create projects with, so it's really nice having somewhere to store it all. So I'm hoping that you'll at least pick up a few tips maybe of how you could store some of your different things and at least enjoy having a look around my creative space. So let's start having a look. So this unit itself is in 3 different sections, and the desks do fold away, and this would fold around into a big cupboard, but because I'm using it all of the time I always leave it open. So along the top here I've got some products that have been sent to me by a client ready to work with. I've got my sewing box, and next to that a pin cushion that I made using my other half's old shirts. I then have a basket up here with all sorts of envelopes and wallets and sleeves. I've also got my light box in there. I've got a mini tripod, and also this is what I use for filming, for all of my videos where I'm filming down onto the desk. I remove some of the tubs and I clip this on here so that I can put my camera there filming everything that I'm doing down below. In this first tub here, I've got lots of mainly wooden block stamps, and I think all of the ones in here have been sent to me by Christine at London Gifties. So that's where I keep those. I've got lots of boxes of stamps and also washi tape. So this tub here is where I keep lots of my different size washi tapes, and I love having a good selection. It's really handy when I'm creating different journal pages. And I also really like the fact that these plastic tubs are all clear so I can see inside them. And these all came with the unit, which is from Storage for Crafts. In this box I've got predominantly pens, so I've got 2 Tombow watercolour sets there, some gel pens from Edding, Stabilo woody pencils which are great for decorating windows. I've also got some Sailor brush pens and also my Uni Emot fine liners. And I keep some pens on my desk which I'll show you in a minute, but others that I tend to use for specific projects I keep tidied away. In this box here is where I keep all of my distress inks, and they all stack up really nicely, and the distress oxide pads as well. I also keep all of my ink blending tools and all of the little different coloured pads that go on top of them. Some of my distress spray stains, water spritzers, and these are all ink spray bottles. I've got my heat tool, and I've also got my embossing powders in here as well. because if I'm using those, I know that I'll always need to use the heat tool at the same time. In this box I've got my Brother printer and also my Pooley printer and all of the different labels and accessories that I need when I'm using those. I also have a sprocket printer, and I've been asked a few times to do a comparison video of the different printers, so that's definitely on my list to do at some point soon. This box hasn't got much in it, but it tends to be, if I'm working with mixed media, it's nice to be able to use some cotton buds and wipes to be able to just make some marks in the paint. This box again is if I'm doing more art journaling and mixed media, so I've got some makeup sponges there for applying paint and ones that I've already used in here, and I've got some acrylic paints, some little spatulas. I've also got some different gesso in there and Mod Podge and texture paste, and also old store cards and things for being able to scrape paint onto my page. In the next box here, again I've got some more washi tapes, and I try and keep some similar themed ones together so that they're easier to find if I'm looking for particularly bright colours or different greens. In here I have one of my newest purchases, which is a jelly plate, and I've loved doing some printing with that in acrylic paint, so I'll definitely share that as a video soon. I've also got my pastels, an acrylic paint set, my gouache, and also my gelatos underneath. So that tends to be a tub I go to if I'm doing more kind of heavy mediums in my journals rather than some of the lighter things like stamping and stenciling. These two boxes are actually my daughter's things. In here, some more wooden block stamps. I think again all sent to me by London Gifties. So I've got different tins in there and some floral stamps, all sorts of great designs. In here is where I keep my scrapbooking and other decorative papers. So I've got my Tim Holtz ones there, I've got some from my own product range, I've also got some Jane Davenport ones I think in there somewhere, paper doilies, any old scraps that I might want to use either for collage or with my die cutting machine. This is my pencil tub. So this is where I've got my set of chameleon pencils, which I use a lot. I've also sent some other tins by Cult Pens, which I really enjoy, the Derwent Pro Colour and also the Derwent Inktense. And I've got some blending solution and also some really lovely metallic pencils underneath. Next up, I have a tub full of stencils, and these ones I've collected over many years. So I've got some of from my own product range there on the top, some Tim Holtz stencils, some regular text stencils, all sorts of different patterns and designs under here. And I love stencils because to me they're such good value for money, because you can just use them again and again and in so many different ways. In here, this is my watercolour tub. So I've got my little palette in there, some different brushes. So I've got some silk watercolours that were sent to me. I've also got some London Gifties sets in here. And then I've got some Kuretake Gansai Tambi paints that were sent to me by Cult Pens. And also some Derwent Inktense paints in there as well. And it's really handy for me having all of my paints in one place. It makes it much easier if I'm starting one particular project. I know that I want to be able to use watercolour paints. I can find all of those easily. In here I have some more stamps. I don't think I'm going to be short of stamps anytime soon, but I do love just knowing that they're there, and depending on what kind of project I'm working on, it's very likely I'm going to have something that's going to match in with the theme that I want to create. In here I have some paint pens. And I did buy a set of Posca pens many years ago, but also Cult Pens have sent me lots more of the Poscas to try out, and also Pilot have sent me lots of their pens as well, which I actually did a video on probably about 18 months, 2 years ago. And I tend to use those on things like pebbles or decorating terracotta pots. This one is the ephemera that I use usually in my traveller's notebook. So I've got some pressed flowers on the top here. I've then got ticket rolls, different journaling cards, pieces of paper that I might want to tear up and put on inside my pages. And I've got map sheets and things like that in there. So anything that I might want to tear up and play around with in my traveller's notebook. This pot's my other half, so that's a man's hub, and underneath here I have lots of different inks, and most of these inks have been sent to me by Cult Pens, though I did buy the Pilot Iroshizuku ones myself. I absolutely love those inks, and these ones I got from a calligraphy workshop that I attended, I think in January this year. And I also have a glass dip pen, my little ink swatch booklet from Start Bay Notebooks, and also a tin here with some of my spare nibs in. Okay, we'll look in the final tubs on the top section. So this one here is for when I'm doing wax sealing. So I've got all of the stamps on the top there. Then I've got my wax sticks, my beads, my candles and my melting spoon. And I've got a lovely selection of those now. And this is the pot I use for stamping. So I've got my acrylic stamp holders on the top here for any of the rubber stamps that I'm using. This is my stamp cleaner and mat. And then in here I've got some different ink pads, also embossing pads as well, and embossing pens. This is kind of my sticky tub, so any kind of glues, tapes, anything that I might need for adhesives, and like the little sticky squares to put underneath things as well. In here I've got lots of different pens, so I've got my Tombow ABT alcohol markers, Tombow twin tone pens, lots of Staedtler pens, and also some Pentel's. And I think all of these pens were sent to me by Cult Pens to work on different projects for them. And that's definitely a bonus for me of working with some great businesses, is that I get to use their products to be able to create some different kind of journaling pages and projects for them, and then I get to keep them in my stash, so I'm definitely very lucky. These are the Royal Talens Ecoline brush pens, and also the inks, and I bought those about a month or so ago. If you follow me on Instagram, you might well have seen me using those, and also some little pipettes that go with them. In here is lots of my different rubber stamps, and most of these are from my own product range. So I've got the smaller ones there on top, and then lots of the larger stamps underneath. And I've got these smaller tubs up here. And on the top is where I've got all sorts of different cutting things. So these are 2 slice knives, and I've also got any kind of different tools that I might want to use when using the die cutting machine or for pushing little holes through. And underneath, bits and bobs for around the home. Here I've got quite a random selection of pens, some from the Simply Lettering magazine, but also lots of them that have been sent to me by Cult Pens to try out and see how I get on with. And if I do workshops at Cult Pens, I tend to take a tub like that with me so that we've got different things to try out. In here I've got some more washi tapes. These were recently sent to me by Edding. They're really fun, so there's some nice metallic pens in there. Also lots of different markers which are good for using on wood, terracotta, things like that. So I've had a quick play with them, but definitely want to start using them in lots of different ways. I've got an empty tub there. And here I've got lots of different size paintbrushes. And then here I've got some Kuretake Zig real brush pens. And these are really fun for doing brush lettering with, but I tend to use them more for adding water and sort of turning them into a watercolour wash. And I think, and then I've got one more empty tub underneath there. Okay, so under here on this side, so I've got some Tombow brush pens that I use. This lovely set of pens that was sent to me by Edding. A mug that my daughter made me that actually got dropped in one of the moves but has been glued back together. And I've got lots of the pens that I like using in there. And behind that I've got lots of my favourite journaling and creative books. And I did do a post on my blog detailing most of those, but I've had a few additions since then, including how to draw modern florals and I'm trying to think what else might be new. Oh, the new botanical painting as well, and also my own book there, of course, which is fun. And then I've got a classic-y storage box here. And in there I've got some more washi tapes, and because this is on my desk I tend to put the ones that I'm using at that time and then swap them around with the other washies in from my other boxes. And I've got some little journaling cards there too. I always just have some pads on my desk for when I'm answering the phone or just dealing with some little queries. I always have my pencil box there. My bullet journal inside my cover from Start Bay notebook, so I always have that on my desk for my planning. Now behind here I've got some tubs with more washi tape in. I've got some stamps and mini ink pads as well. I've also got some masking fluid and other glues. And then along the back I've got all of my completed bullet journals. I've also got some new journals there ready to go. So all of these covers come from Start Bay notebooks. I've also got some cardy pads there that I do my watercolouring in. And then to the right here, these are actually glasses storage containers, so you'd actually put glasses in those, but they're the perfect size for putting washi tape rolls inside. Got a little wooden bowl. They are some stamps that I've carved. I want to have a go at doing that again. I've got my zebra mild liner brush pens. Some of my favourite pens to use for different creative projects, so lots of gel pens in there. This I bought from a lady called Jane Foster, who happens to live in the same town as me. She's an illustrator and just a lovely person. And I've got my Skoda paintbrushes in there, along with my favourite dip pen. So now we will move to underneath the desk. Underneath here I have two big tubs of fabric from when I used to do lots of sewing, which I want to do more of again, and also a flower press. And then under this side tends to be things that I don't use quite as often. So my daughter's easel is there. I've got my sewing machine. A whole pile of things that I tend to use if I'm delivering in-person workshops. So I've got tubs of different pens there, and on the right I've got different paint palettes and paintbrushes that I'm happy to take with me when doing workshops. And I've got my die cutting machine, my hard drive storage, and also my daughter's sewing box. And in these drawers on the right hand side, at the top, that's some beads that my daughter's been using in a project. In here I've got lots of lovely vintage papers, quite a lot of which have been sent to me in Happy Mail. These mainly came out of different project life sets, so some nice quotes and journaling cards in there. Here I've got things like paper clips, wooden cut shapes, also liquid pearls and stickles. I tend to use those if I'm creating cards particularly. This is kind of my messy drawer, calculator, rulers, protractors, compasses, sticky labels. That bag is full of sewing patterns. I did actually sew that one myself from a Kath Kitston kit many years ago. That's Journal with Purpose projects that I'm working on. So that is a free printable. That was my original designs. That's a free printable that's either just gone out on my blog or will be soon. Also a sneak peek at some collage papers that I've created for Wanderlust. and some notebooks there. Lots of different pads, so I've got in there mixed media pads and watercolour paper. That one I can't show you, that's got some confidential work in there. And here I've got printables that I've purchased for journaling with, and also anything for sending out happy mail, so note cards, letter writing paper, that sort of thing. In here, lots of spare notebooks. I'm lucky enough to be sent lots of notebooks and I always use them, but I just keep them in a drawer till I'm ready for them. Here is all of my chameleon products. So I had the pencils separately, but that's the alcohol markers, the colour changing fine liners and colour tops. In here is lots of different cards and envelopes ready for card making. And then finally at the bottom is all of my different die cuts and embossing folders. And lots of those from my own product range, but also ones that come free with magazines as well. So the final thing I was going to show you is I have this basket, and I tend to keep this by my desk, but this is the basket I take over to buy the settee every evening. So I've got in there my traveller's notebook from Start by Notebooks. So this is where I keep my daily journal. So that's my pages this week so far. And also my traveller's notebook insert, that was for my last YouTube video. I've also got my junk journal in there. Different stickers, postcards, any bits I might want really for when I'm journaling by the settee. I've then got a whole pouch there full of lots of different stickers. And in the sides I've got washi tapes and stickers from my own product range. So that's the one I tend to have by me in the evening when I'm just writing down a few notes about my day. So that's it, I think. I really hope that you've enjoyed seeing around my storage desk, where I work, and lots of the creative products that I'm lucky enough to have. I will leave links to some of the things that I've mentioned down below. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I can't wait to talk to you very soon in the next one.